Well, welcome to day 2, video 2 of the Rush cutting board. What we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and start taking this out of the clamps. We're going to remove the cawls. So, let's remove this. Now obviously I have more cleanup to do under here because I couldn't get to this side. But if I hadn't cleaned up the front side like I did, wiping it down with the water and the rag, I would have had this on both sides to clean up. So you can see obviously how much time I've saved myself by wiping down that front side. So I'm going to go ahead and do some rough sanding right quick and get this knocked down fairly good. And then when I come back after the sanding, I'll run it through my planer. So hang on, we'll be right back. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start out with this is a 120 grit. But this one's kind of used. You can see it's got some use on it, but I'm going to use as much as I can on it. And I'll get off what I can. I've got another disc right here ready to use when this one wears out. But what I want to do on this, the objective of this is to get this side fairly smooth. Doesn't have to be perfectly flat, but I want to get it fairly smooth and as flat as I can. But and then I'll run that through my planer with this side down, and we'll clean up this ugly side with my planer. So this thing makes a lot of dust, it makes a lot of noise, so I'll play some music for you. Hang on. Alright, I made it through it without it having to change disc. So is this perfectly flat? No. It's smooth enough that I can run this through my planer now, clean up the other side, get this side smooth, and then once I get this side smooth, then I can flip it over, run this side through, and get it smooth and parallel with the other side. So it's a quick way to get everything down to where I need it. All right, as you can tell, I kind of like DeWalt. This is my DWE 6423. This is a random orbital sander. Now this one I can set flat down on the board like that, and I will. Again, I'm using a 120 grit sandpaper that I did on the other one, and I'm just going to do a little bit more fine tuning a little bit, if you say. And so here we go. And that, boys and girls, is really all I wanted to do with that. It's just amazing the difference between the two sanders. The other one is obviously rush, get it down quick, and then this one is for the finish, and it's amazing. Same sandpaper, same grit, just amazing the difference in the finish of it. So now I'm going to set back up inside the shop again, and I'll be hooked up to my planer. And we'll lay in the planer, we'll lay it this side down, and we'll clean up the top side right here. And then we'll, after we get this side cleaned up and smooth, then we'll flip this side down, and we'll run this side through the planer and get them smooth and cleaned up and parallel. And then we'll do some more final sanding. So hang on, we'll be right back. All right, it's not perfectly flat, but I can sand all this in and get this all in there. And same thing over here, I'll be able to sand all this black out and stuff, but I'll get it all nice and smooth, and we'll do this with the hand sanders. Everything now, as far as sanding goes, will be done with the random orbital sander, and that'll knock it out real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and tear down and put away the planer and the vacuum system and get set up, and we'll do the sanding. So this is my pride and joy. I don't have any sawdust or chips to pick up off the floor. It's all in the bag. So anyway, I'll be right back. All right, as you can tell, we are back inside the shop. And we are set up to do the sanding. Again, this is going to be with the DWE 6423 random orbital sander. I did put a brand new belt or a brand new disc on it, and getting ready to start the final sandings or work our way up. This is still considered coarse sanding, but I bet you're wondering, what has a pencil got to do with the sanding? Well, what I do is I take this pencil and I just score lines all the way across. When you sand this all away, you will see sections where the pencil stays, and you know that's a low spot that you've got to do. So what you come do is you come back and you mark it all again, and you sand it until you get rid of all the pencil marks. And that way you know you've got your board about as flat as you can do it by hand. We're going to get after it, so here we go. Okay, as you can see, I still got some lines in through here and a little bit right through here, but I've got some glue marks in here that are still showing up. Even though they feel good, I've got to get those glue marks out a little bit right here. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm using 120 grit, and I think I'm going to go ahead and drop down to 80 grit, and then I'm going to start that process all over. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and score it again with some more pencil. And like I said, I know I've got some snipe in through here that I want to get out. So now we're going to start it with a little bit rougher sandpaper. This is 80 grit. Okay, as you can see, I didn't get all of the lines out. So what I'm doing when I use this random orbital sander is I let it sit, and I exert just enough downward force to have control over the sander. So let the sandpaper do its work. So I'm going to go back and let it run one more time, and then till I get the majority of this off. I know I'm going to leave lines here because this board, this little cherry board, is just a little bit shallower cut than these two maples on either side. So I know I'm not going to get all those out until I work my way down to the whole thing. But I'm going to go ahead and finish up what I got here. So here we go. Okay, like I told you, the vast majority of it has come out. I got a little bit of pencil here, a little pencil here, a little pencil here, a little bit right there, and just a little bit here in this cherry, which I knew I would. Just a touch right here in that maple. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the pencil out, and I'm just going to remark it. And the beauty of it, like I said, this tells you exactly when you have removed all that you need to have removed, and you're smooth and flat. Looking for it. So here we go. Gonna do it some more. All right, we're getting a lot closer. So as you can see here, got some glue there, a little bit there, a little bit there. So we're getting closer to having where I want it on this side here. There is a ton of sanding that goes into a cutting board, and I literally probably have close to another hour and a half of sanding on this side of the board, and then I've got to flip it over and do the other side. So I'm not going to bore y'all with a whole lot more sanding, but when I come back, we'll pick up where after all the sanding is done, and we'll see where we're at during the day for that. So I'll be back here in a little bit. So thanks a bunch. Okay. The next thing we got to do is I've got the board sanded down pretty good, but I'm ready to do the carving on the front and the back side. And so what I've got to do is I've got to take the decal and stick it to the board. So first thing I've got to do is I've got to remove the back of the vinyl decal. right there. And I want to keep the decal. Got to pull it slowly because I don't want the internals of the letters to pull off. There we go, did good. Okay, all right, so the next thing I got to do, I'm not sure if you can see them, but I've got crosshairs marked the center of the board, and on the front of the decal I marked the center of the decal, and this will allow me to get these put in and have them pretty much lined up exactly. Now I'm going to move them up just a little bit. I'm going to go a little high of center for one reason. In fact, I think I may even actually come down. I think I will. I'm going to drop down a little bit low because I want to get this down. And I need to check my spacing, make sure I've got it level. So I'm looking at 4 7/16 and 4 7/16, so we're good. What I want to do is I want to get that lettering in between the glued portions of the board where I glued those together. So now what I'm doing is I'm spreading out making sure it's all down permanent good. So the next thing I got to do is come back over here and peel off the transfer tape, which will leave my decal underneath that I'll use for marking and laying out my my signs. So the transfer tape, I try to keep that flat down on top. It makes the insides of like the R's and the D's and the little A, it makes it easier to keep those stuck to the board. If I pulled it straight up, the decal would pull off of the board and then it wouldn't stay. So doing them this way keeps it flat down on it and it keeps everything on there. So all right, we're good. Now, we got that one done. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to pull the lettering flat down on it. And you just want to keep it flat, and that helps keep everything down. There we go. Okay, so now we've got both of them transferred. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to just see if I can just score the corners of them. So now I've got everything marked, so now the next thing to do is to pull up the decal. And then we'll see what kind of issues we have to deal with, and the bleeding's not too bad. That's going to give me something to work with and get it cleaned out, and we'll get it worked out. It'll be all right. So give y'all an idea. But like I said, everything's black, and in between the black lines is going to be carved out. Now the names will be carved out, the letters will be carved out, and then the outline of Texas will be carved out. So this will stay, and of course all of this around here is all going to stay. And then the 2022 will be, the letters will be carved. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause it here, and I'll get set up and we'll start the carving. And I'll probably start the carving in the next video. This video is probably getting a little bit long, but we got a lot done today, and still got lots more to go. But we're going to get this thing knocked out, and it's going to look nice, I think, when we get through with it. So that's going to be it for now. And so on video number 2, this will be a wrap. So if you would, like I said, hit the like button, the subscribe button. the bell icon. Give me a thumbs up if you feel I'm worthy of it. Leave me questions and comments. I'd appreciate it, and I'd answer every one of them. And lastly, if you would, please share my channel and my videos with your family and friends. I greatly appreciate it, and it'll help my ratings. So thanks a bunch, and we'll see you tomorrow in video 3 of the Rush cutting board. But we'll be getting this thing knocked out pretty quick. So thanks a bunch, and we'll see you tomorrow.